The trade deadline has come and gone. Now it's time to take a look at free agency. Yes, a way too early look, but we can always take a look forward and see who's going to be available out there on the NBA's free agent market. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here to the channel. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, there's some centers out there that are going to be available this summer. There's some teams, maybe one in particular that we both know that could probably use a center. Let's do a little shopping here, man.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I mean, especially after a certain trade fell through, that team certainly does need a center. But for any team that needs a big or another center on their rotation, there's going to be some interesting guys.
All right, let's take a look. So this is via Spot Track. These are the players who are going to be free agents. Brook Lopez is roughly 55 years old at this point, but could he be somebody who helps it? $24 million, zero chance he's getting that this coming summer. I could see Brook Lopez. I don't know if he stays in Milwaukee or not. I think the Bucks need a bit of a refresh. I could see Brook Lopez having another good season. Or do you think he's got enough left in the tank to really help somebody? Assuming we're talking sub MLE money.
Sub MLE? Yeah. So taking a cut off what he's making right now?
For sure.
Like 10 million cut, a little more.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Well, the thing with Brook is that he's still giving the Bucks mostly what he's always given them. The rebounding is a little bit worse, but he's still giving them 2 blocks, 5 threes a game, 37%, 32 minutes per night. I mean, that tells me that he still has got enough in the tank as a 3-and-D center out there. And obviously there are, if you're looking for a more mobile big, he's not exactly what you'd be looking to grab, but there is still something there for him as like a bit of a 3-and-D type center. And I think that for the Bucks, unless they find a better option, they should probably try to retain him, in my opinion. But he is pretty old, and he's getting up there at 37 years old, actually, whatever. Otherwise, what you just said. But yeah, about 37, and he's played a long time, so have to wonder how much he has left for sure.
Another guy that's getting up there in years, and that's what we're seeing a lot on this market. It's a lot of kind of older centers, but Clint Capella, I think, while he's not the locked-in starter that he used to be, hasn't been starting for the Atlanta Hawks, but 31 years old, I think he could still provide something to teams. Another guy who's going to take a big pay cut. He's not going to get $23 million or whatever he was getting this past year. He's not getting that, but another guy where I think Atlanta has made it very clear they're moving on to Onyeka Okongwu. I think he's another MLE, sub-MLE guy that'll be out there on the market that could at least be a stopgap for a team in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're looking for more of a lob catcher, defensive center that you only have to play about 20, 22, 3, 4 minutes a game, I think Clint is a perfect stopgap. And we talked about that one team earlier. They may not be able to walk away with their center of the future, so could potentially need to lean on somebody like this. And that would be a nice addition, in my opinion.
Miles Turner, another guy that I think is really, really interesting. Obviously, the Pacers would like to keep him. He wants to stay with the Pacers. He's reportedly looking for $30 million. Would you be willing to give Miles Turner a deal starting at $30 million a season? He's making just over 20 right now.
Man, 30 million.
29 years old.
30 million's a lot. Also, if I remember correctly, with their salary sheet, that really locks them into the core that they have here.
It does.
They give them that. I don't know. It's tricky. He's like Brook Lopez plus, right? Just more mobile, younger, things like that, but similar archetype, 3-and-D type center. I mean, if you're the Pacers, you have to give him what he wants, assuming it's not unreasonable.
Because how many guys want to be in Indiana, right? That's the problem.
And how many guys are you going to get that are going to be better than him?
Exactly.
Slide in. If you're the Pacers, you have to do that. But on the open market, I don't know if he commands that in particular.
Well, and that's just it. There's no cap space out there right now. I mean, I suppose the Brooklyn Nets could talk themselves into giving Miles Turner a bunch of money. They could also talk themselves into the next guy, Naz Reid, but there's not really money out there. And that means that for some of these guys, if they want above MLE money, which Naz Reid is absolutely going to want and should get, Miles Turner is going to want and should get, these guys are going to have to either stay with their teams or get signed and traded somewhere. And that is a complicating path as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that is on the table for sure in terms of the sign and trade. But when you talk about that, there's just not a lot of options for most of these guys because the cap space restrictions. So I do think if you're Miles, you're probably just better off staying where you're at and taking what they'll give you and being a part of their future there.
You look at Steven Adams, another guy who's probably going to have to take a bit of a pay cut, but
whoa, we're skipping over the most tantalizing prospect here.
Who's that?
Nas.
Oh, I just talked about it. I don't think he's going anywhere.
You just threw in a quick little shout out. We didn't actually talk about Nas.
Well, yeah, you know what? I'm trying not to pump up Nasri too much before he plays our Lakers tonight.
Okay.
We know what he tends to do when he plays the Lakers, but he's not going to pick up that $15 million player option. He deserves more than that, but I think the Wolves are going to give it to him. New ownership group. I don't think the Wolves are going to penny pinch right now, not with Nas, not with the way he is with that fan base. I would be shocked if he goes anywhere else because, teams would happily line up to give him the MLE, but he wants more than that. And the only way he's going to get that is either a sign and trade, the Brooklyn Nets convince themselves that they want to spend their money on him, or the Wolves give it to him. And I think it's going to be the latter. I think the Wolves are going to give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of the reason they made that trade, it was reported, was that they were going to invest in Nas.
In Nas, the Towns trade.
The Towns trade, yes.
Yeah.
And Nas has been great for them. And he's still really young on the Ant timeline. Why not lock him up? I also really, really like Nas's game. He's such a fun guy to watch when he's not killing your team. He's such a good ball handler. Like he's a really fluid athlete, and I really like watching him play. And he's a great shooter too. So I think he's going to be, honestly, if we're talking about 25 plus million, if he was on the open market, if that was available, I could see him getting that. And I don't know what he would command in Minnesota. Maybe they are in a similar situation. Just give him what he wants, assuming it's not outlandish. But I think he's worth it, especially for the long term.
I do think that because of the lack of cap space out there, it will be something of a depressed market this year. But Nas, again, I think he winds up staying in Minnesota. Steven Adams, let's just kind of lump some of these guys together. Steven Adams, Al Horford, the DeAndre Jordans of the world. Maybe that's unfair to put DeAndre Jordan with Steven Adams and Al Horford, but these are older guys. They're going to take probably sub MLE money. I would imagine Al Horford isn't leaving Boston anytime soon. I hesitate to even list him as available on the market because he's not really going to be. I'm sure he's going to wind up staying. Steven Adams, though, could wind up actually leaving the Rockets. He is more of a 15 to 20 minute a night guy right now than a 30-minute a night guy, and he doesn't shoot the three. But I mean, whenever you can get somebody who has superhuman strength like Steven Adams does, that's an attractive quality, and that's something that I think a lot of teams will at least have interest in at the right price.
Yeah, he just moves people out of the way effortlessly. So and the offensive rebounding he has, the way he plays he doesn't really try to force anything, very high efficiency out there. I think he's somebody that a lot of teams would try to plug into their team if they can get him. But I wanted to quickly throw a shout out to the one and only GOAT, DeAndre Jordan, who you just threw in there like he's not a part of this. Do you know DeAndre Jordan's per 36 numbers? He's averaging 11 points. 14 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a block and a half, a steal.
This is why per 36 is a bad stat. That's why per 36 is a bad stat.
So what I will say is that in all seriousness, it's kind of funny how he was absolutely unplayable in LA, but then after that became halfway playable in Denver a little bit there. So that's what I will say. But yeah, no, I do wonder about these guys. Out of these guys, you said Wagner as well, right? He's probably just going to retain where he's at.
I would imagine he's got a team option at 11 million. I would have to imagine the Magic, especially after, he obviously season lost due to injury here for Mo, but he is the best 3-point shooter on a team that is horrible shooting the three right now. I mean, literally the worst 3-point shooting team percentage wise in the NBA by a mile. I don't see them letting Mo go. Not to mention the fact that his brother is also on the team who they'd like to keep happy. So,
yeah. So it's out of all those guys, I mean, there's not a lot. And then after that, it's kind of just guys that are not really going to be a part of rotation.
I'll tell you one that I'm interested in, and that's Day'Ron Sharpe as an RFA, a restricted free agent with the Nets. What's the price tag going to look like for him? Where does he ultimately go? Because I don't know that he's a full MLE guy, but what number would you have to hit in order for the Nets to say, okay, we're going to let him go? Is he a sign and trade candidate? I don't know. That's going to be really interesting to see. Day'Ron Sharpe, does he wind up just staying in Brooklyn? That's a guy that I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah. I could see him getting 6-7, something like that.
Sure.
I think that's a good number. But there's some other guys I like that are a little bit younger down here too, like Aldama I like.
Yes, I think he's going to have a pretty big market.
Yeah, I think that those two, Garza as well, are going to be pretty interesting. And then also Lakers' own Jackson Hayes. I don't think he'll be on a minimum deal like next year either.
You think he gets more? He might. Yeah, he's played a lot better.
He's played his way off of that.
Yeah.
I think he's played his way off of minimum. I mean, he may be like a 5, 6, 7, something like that, but he's not going to get a big contract, but not a minimum, I don't think.
If you could get him, if you could keep him on the Lakers and you can give him a modest raise off of the minimum, I'm talking get him to 3, 4 per year, something like that. Yeah, are you doing that?
Yeah, yes. I'd go as high as 5, assuming everything else lines up.
So if he's earned it. Opportunity cost wise, if you could use your taxpayer mid-level on Jackson Hayes, let's call it $6 million. I don't have the number in front of me. Knowing that would be your only signing, really. Are you doing that? Or would you let Jackson Hayes go?
Just Jackson. I would probably see what else is out there. Like that's one of those ones that I'm telling Jackson we'll push this as long as we can and see what we can do personally. Yeah. Also, you were just hovering over him. I like Post as well.
Yeah, I think the Warriors are going to keep him. I think that's pretty clear. They've been using him a ton. I think Quentin Post, the Warriors will hang on to him. He's right now a team option. I think they're actually going to decline the team option and get him a long-term deal.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
Yeah, he shot the ball well. You know what? It's not a super deep center class this year in free agency. I do think for some of these guys, if they're going to move teams, it's going to be more of a sign and trade. But there are some interesting names out here. There are more of the stopgap variety player. I don't see a lot of, assuming that, Miles Turner anyway does not leave, assuming Miles Turner and Naz Reid do not leave their current teams. It's a lot of guys that you would feel pretty good if they're your backup big or if they're just a rotation big. Not a lot of guys that you say, this is our 30-plus minute a night guy. Those guys aren't really there. Again, assuming Miles Turner and Naz Reid wind up staying. But I do think there's going to be some good values on the market here at the center position. For example, like Andre Drummond, by the way, I think he picks up. I think he picks up that player option. I don't know that he gets $5 million out there on the market this year. Okay. But I just don't see it. Maybe I hope I'm wrong. I like Andre Drummond, but I don't see him getting more than that. But the guy I'm targeting, it's Steven Adams. I mean, he's not the perfect modern center or anything, but he is the kind of guy that you want on your team. Just physical. He's going to be a presence. He's going to set hard screens. He's going to rebound. He's the kind of guy that I think can be a sneaky value on a market like this. I would.
Though? He's already at nearly 13.
Yeah, I'd be looking at sub MLE money. Give him a 2-year, 20 million. Yeah. 2-year, 20 million, something like that.
Okay.
For Steven Adams.
That's good value. And I do wonder also like how much of this market is what it is. We're talking about free agents, but just in terms of teams needing centers, I wonder how much of the trade market in the offseason will impact that as well.
Absolutely.
For example, Mark Williams, does he actually wind up getting moved in the offseason if possible? Because he was already traded once. So.
Can he pass a physical? That's
well, like Silver said, the physicals are subjective, right? I mean, maybe another team looks at it and it's like, this is fine. I don't know what the Lakers were thinking, so you never know.
Well, in any event, it does seem like there's going to be some really interesting names out there on the market this summer. Maybe not that, yes, we need to go get this guy immediately again, unless Miles Turner or Naz Reid surprisingly move. But I do think there are some quality options here. Some guys are older. Some guys, maybe are still trying to round into form here. DeAndre Sharp being one. There's some interesting guys for them or Day'Ron Sharp, being one. I almost said DeAndre Jordan.
I was actually gonna end this video saying shout out to the GOAT DeAndre Jordan, by the way.
The GOAT DeAndre Jordan.
You teed it up.
I did. DeAndre Jordan. Oh man. DeAndre Jordan, man, he's gonna be in this league forever. He's just he will always.
Why not? He likes everyone. Everyone likes him. Why not?
You know who actually I think is underrated? It's Kevon Looney.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about him. We talked about Post before Looney.
He can really be a force on the boards. For a team that misses on Steven Adams, Kevon Looney would be a good target.
Yeah.
Just to provide you that rebounding. That'd be interesting. But everybody let us know your thoughts. What do you think about the center market? Who would you want to see your team sign if they could add a big this summer? Again, we'll continue our way too early look at free agency, but today we want to take a look at all the centers that are out there. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the Basketball Bulletin YouTube channel. Turn on those notifications as well. And don't forget to go check out our latest video on the insane comments of one Paul George. Go check that out right now.